no one's going to believe me, but I actually threw out my back trying to pick up a stone because I've been a lifter my entire life. I've deadlifted my entire life, and I fell off the wagon for a year. I looked at the rock. I was like, dude, 200 pounds. This is easy.
Light work.
And literally since then, I've had like not a herniated disc or anything, but like I've had some pretty bad back problems. and I literally, if you watch the video, you can see where I kind of go, trying to get the stone up to my waist.
From Maine's cold coast to Connecticut pride, Vermont's green hills take it all in stride. Massachusetts traffic we grip and we grind with a Dunkin' iced coffee and no peace of mind. So New England stands up proud. Chowder thick, we shout it loud. From Fenway Chance to Rhode Island Tide, New Hampshire's cry, live free or die. So New England with Ian Brownhill.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks. Welcome back to the So New England podcast. Today, we have another business spotlight for you, episode number 6. I'm your host, Ian Brownhill, joined by my co-host, Robert Travisano, all things life's better in New England, So New England podcast producer, Vinny Chen's behind the lens. And guys, get your lore ready because we've got a fun guest for you today. RJ, please tell us who is in studio.
New England is filled with culture, a melting pot, if you will. And sometimes, more often than not, we get an amazing individual who creates something of their own culture and love that just needs to be represented. Today's guest is here to do just that. And once you hear his story and what he has set out to do, you're probably going to want to throw something super heavy and super far. But do not blame the So New England podcast if you break something. That's our disclaimer there. Welcome here to represent No Fame Game, Mr. Josh Mackintosh!
You can tell this is a morning episode because RJ is fired up.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes.
Best intro ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
No Fame Game. Josh, come on, man. You're here. This is great. We've been talking for a little bit. Disclaimer, there was a request to bring in an Irish lifting stone, which we had to unfortunately put to bed because the elevator is not going to lift that thing up. There's no way. We almost get stuck on that elevator every time we come up here.
It can barely lift us up.
Yeah, it can barely lift us at 205 pounds, by the way, because I have lost some weight. So just had to put that out there.
Yeah, right.
Josh, thank you so much for your time, man. We
Thank you
appreciate
guys for having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome, man, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Tell me. No Fame Game.
Well, so this is our 6th annual game that we have coming up, but it's really a culmination of all of these years and experience and people coming together from all over the world for the first ever Celtic Strength World Championship. And it's right in Milford. We're outside of Boston. The crazy part is it's June 13th. So that's also the day that Scotland returns to the World Cup at Gillette Stadium, 25 minutes away from us at 9 p.m. at night. And so there's talk of like 40 to 50,000 Scots coming in the Boston area. And it's just this serendipity of all of these people coming together. One of our mottos is in Irish, it's Níl cúile heile, and that means there's no strength without unity. So it's really bringing all of these people together. We're really just like modern stewards and servants of this culture, of this heritage sports. And my job is really, also as a private chef to ultra high net worth people, is just to have a party, to put the party together that people who are old school or OG in New England, Irish diaspora, Celtic diaspora, whatever, all Celtic diaspora can come together and have fun and can celebrate each other and can be better or stronger to be better to pick each other up. And that's really our mission. I know it sounds pretty altruistic and crazy,
No, I love that.
diving in deep, but that's the core root foundation of this beautiful Celtic tree that we have. And looking at all the root systems and branches, my job is like, how do I make the best party? And how do I bring people like you guys to come in, And
Hey, you got the right ones here, man. You're looking at an Irish lifter himself. Just lifter of different things. I'm the lifter of bangers for sure.
All right.
Love me a good Irish sausage.
Yeah. And this motion of the donut.
The donut and the coffee in this hand. So like I am a lifter, just of different nature.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's like,
also, if my wife is listening, he was lying. There's not going to be 40,000 Scottish men arriving to Boston. That's just not the true thing. I I don't want her to
Okay.
hear that and get, excited to go to Logan herself and
Yeah.
see it in real life.
Yeah, I know. Just like go find stones. And,
She thinks 5'8" is tall, so I can't have her meeting what a real man looks like.
I mean, there's going to be some legitimate giants coming in, for the Scottish Highland Games. It's basically like a decathlon, but with 9 events. And so that's like strongman meets track and field and kilts.
Mm-hmm.
Those events are amazing to watch. And we're actually working with an organization to launch a new professional league. It doesn't exist in the States anyway. It's in Canada and Scotland and Europe. But so there's world record holders, there's world champions that are coming in. And I was just talking to one guy from South Africa who's coming, and he's gunning to break some world records. So there's a show, like that's just the Scottish Highland Games. And man, there's so much to cover and talk about. And
of course.
I could keep going, and I'm excited about it. And just what's fascinating is all these people are coming in to party and to celebrate strength. And it's all its forms, whether it's lifting donuts, bicep curls, whether it's going around and spreading the good word. Like that's a strength too of how do we celebrate culture? How do we uplift culture? It's not just about the stones or about, lifting heavy weights or throwing things far, throwing telephone poles. Mm-hmm. It's really like looking at strength as one whole, alive, undulating, piece of culture and society, and whether you're Celtic or not. And that's a really beautiful thing, to try and be a part of, or actually to be a part of, and to help bring back to New England, because there's these traditions that have been lost in New England, like the Irish collar and elbow wrestling. It was practiced by George Washington, and it was one of the most prominent, famous sports in the world. And then it died out about 100 years ago. And so we're part of this revival of that, of bringing that back in the first ever Northeast Championship in 100 years. So we've got Cage Titans helping to promote us. There's like how do we bring all the local people together? It's like in the kitchen, I look at ingredients and I say, what local ingredients can I use to create this dish? So I'm thinking about that as an event now, or event promoter, director. I'm the athletic director. My wife is the event director. And so we're like, how do we create this beautiful dish that, people are going to want to come to? And so that's also why I'm here talking to you guys. You guys are it, There's this famous, as a chef, there's a famous line by Thomas Keller, I don't know if you know Thomas Keller. He's a really super famous chef.
It's well established on this podcast. I have the palate of a child. So when it comes to cooking, I know the Salt Bay guy. Yeah. I know the guy that yells at everyone's got the kitchen and Gordon Ramsay. Yeah. And then who's the ravioli guy that everyone used to say?
Stop.
Boom.
Just stop.
Remember that guy?
Emeril Lagasse.
That guy. That's about where my skill set ends.
So we owe
chicken nuggets, please.
There you go. We owe Thomas Keller a debt of gratitude for Nouveau American cuisine. He's one of the spearheads of that. And so he started the French Laundry per se. Anyway, his famous quote is, if you have better ingredients than I do, you can be a better chef than I can. And that's talking from one of the most decorated Michelin star restaurants or Michelin star chefs in the world. So I really use that a lot. Is how can I source or be connected to network around the best people? Because I want to be pushed to be better too. So that's kind of how our progression has happened over these years with the games, is how can we push the envelope and make this better, but also keep our authenticity and our roots. And it's amazing seeing all these different people come together, and what we're learning about with different forms of Irish culture and heritage and traditions, like this stone lifting. Like you said, we were going to bring up this stone. This story is crazy. It's a 254-pound stone. There's a gentleman who was really inspired by the Scots and the Icelandics, and which have a really large stone lifting culture. And it goes back into manhood initiation rites, into community, being uplifted in community, or having your position in society kind of like elevated if you could lift these stones. And so he was this man, David Keown, who his nickname is Indiana Stones. And he spent 4 years traveling around Ireland to all four corners using what's called the Duchess Archives, which is a fascinating other tangent piece of history, where the government decided to tell all the children in the communities to go talk to your elders, write down all of the stories that they know and they hear. And so they compiled all that and they're digitizing it. So it's like a Google. You could just go on, and he Googled stone and there was like 30,000 hits or something like that. Wow. And so, which shows also how important stone, granite, is to particularly stone, is to the Irish people or the Celtic people. And so he then found all of these stories of and rediscovered essentially 60 stones all over, like basically just traveling like a lunatic, just going like, I'm looking for a stone. And what are you talking about? This guy's
Step
nuts.
outside.
Yeah. But what's fascinating is his story became so popular. He got on some really large podcasts, Blind Boy podcast, the Tommy Tiernan show. And then he's also like a leprechaun. He's just like this bubbling, amazing dude. And his story basically became documented by RTE, which is like one of the largest, national broadcasting channel of Ireland, called Made of Stone. And it's even less about the lifting of these because these stones are massive. Some of these are 370, 400-pound stones, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's a wild weight. But it was more about connection to people, and that these stones were really repositories of memory, of history, of connection. When you put your hands on the stone, it's like time traveling, literally, because there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have touched and tested themselves on these stones. And that's really powerful. When you get up to some of these stones, it sounds woo-woo. But when you understand, you have that kind of initiation into it. You have that understanding of what it's about. You touch these stones and you become a part of that history, and you become a part of that lineage, whether people know it or not. And there's something really potent about that. So David had the crazy idea to say, "Oh, let's freight a stone over to Boston," because of what happened with the Great Hunger or the Great Famine. That history, all the Irish diaspora that came to particularly to Boston and Nova Scotia, the Northeast, and how they were displaced. It's a pretty rough story, indentured servitude, essentially slavery, and then, or just they had to leave because they were being occupied and colonized. So he was like, his mission was, I want to remind those Boston Irish and that diaspora of their strength, that this is back, that this is real. So it was actually his first lifting stone that he found on the Copper Coast in the beach he pulled out of the ocean. But while he was going on this journey of all around Ireland, and it was the stone he always came back to remind himself and test himself. So that's the stone we now have in Boston.
That's amazing.
That's
I
so
absolutely love that story.
Yeah.
And having visited Ireland and kissed a Blarney Stone myself, I know just how important some of those things can really be. I also did, I'm trying to remember what the actual story is behind it, but I did, when I was on the Blarney Castle property, I did the backward stairs where you make your wish and then you walk with your eyes closed down the stairs. And if you get there, and I'll be honest with you, right after I did that, I, started getting my business off the ground. So who knows? Maybe that was it.
How you doing?
I could probably use another visit if I'm being honest, not to be selfish, but I could use another wish or two. But
you know what's fascinating about that? And we're harping on David all, and I love you, David. But there's so much to cover. But what's amazing story about that and what you just said is there's one stone that started the journey of this whole thing with David. It's called the Liam O'Flaherty stone. He's a very famous author, and he wrote a short story called The Stone, and it documents an old man remembering this one stone that the village would use to lift, and he remembers the roar of the crowd when he brought it to his chest. 370-pound stone, that's no joke. And on his way there, when David heard about this story, it's in Inishmore on the Aran Islands. So it's out there. And on his way there, he stopped, and there was a wishing well area, and there was a wishing stone there. And he put his hand on it, and he asked for permission to be a steward of this tradition, of to help bring this back, ask permission from the land. And that's when then after that, this whole thing started, and now he's like a national hero now.
yeah,
That's so cool.
absolutely.
So it's fascinating. And then from the Scottish side, there one man, his name's Martin Jansix. His nickname is the Stone Man. And he was featured in a Rogue documentary called Stoneland, which is really great. If you guys can check that out, it's free on YouTube. And Martin he's a legend. And we actually are freighting this year. It's already arrived in Boston. His original lifting stone that he started in 2011 or something like that before he started his journey. So we have the Irish and Scottish motherland stones that are here in Boston. They're going to be at the festival for people to come in and try. People touch, some of these stones. Well, the Irish stone is called the Unclochban, which means the white stone in Irish. And it's been at the Worcester Irish Cultural Festival, as well as the Patriot Place Irish Festival. And you'll see these people, when they hear the story, they'll walk up and they'll just put their hand on the stone because it's a piece of Ireland.
Yeah.
And there's connection to people. And so I love that tradition. I love things that have, as you can probably tell, I love things that have meaning, that have depth. And so how do I bring as much depth to a party, for people, for all walks of life? And that's really, that's just the stone lifting guy. We haven't talked about the crowd activation fitness points. We haven't talked about the Celtic village. We haven't talked about Sheena, singing the national anthem. There's just, and Red Bull sponsoring, having live music, and Guinness sponsoring, having a beer garden. It's just like,
that's awesome.
There's stuff for everyone, man. Like I just need people to know.
Yeah.
I need people to know it's in Little Milford,
Do we have anything like that for us Italians?
What do you mean?
Probably
You guys got
cutlets, right?
carnivals and feasts.
Don't
every
worry
other
about
weekend.
what we're doing, all right?
I
It's
don't
probably
wanna
how
hear
many
it.
cutlets we can eat in one sitting, right?
This whole
Cutlets and
state,
meatballs.
this whole state smells like pesto. I don't want to hear it. Okay.
Well, speaking of Italians, I actually went to high school in Italy and Rome, graduated in Rome. And there is an Italian Olympian shot putter who's coming, and he's going to go after the world record for the open stone.
What's he throwing, a meatball?
So
I'm sorry.
He has a great sense of
You
humor.
racist.
Well, he calls himself the king of cannolis. And you got to check him out on Instagram. It's Chubby Diamonds.
I love it.
He's like,
love that.
well, what's amazing is he's elite thrower, but what he's really good at is bringing people together and putting butts in seats, because he's just like a showman.
Yeah.
He's Italian,
Yeah.
And so it's that, to that point though, is that it's not just for Celts. Like there's people from all walks of life.
I was just
Spanish,
going to say, you mentioned that the few conversations we did have, I feel like you named, like you have your goal of what this is for. Like it's obviously the basis of like the Celtic heritage and traditions. Yeah. But like, I feel like every time we talked, you were bringing in another part of the world. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to keep track of all this. This is so cool.
It really is. And, I'm a third culture kid. So I grew up in St. Croix in the Caribbean. And then I went to high school in Rome, Italy. And then I lived in Thailand for about 10 years and lived and worked in Europe in Michelin star restaurants, and so although I have an American passport and my family has a lot of history in New England, that I really connect with other cultures. I think travel is really vital as a human, especially for the U.S. We have a bad rap for especially traveling overseas. And I think that just comes from, we're awesome. The U.S. New England is an awesome place. We're strong people. We're strong-minded and strong-willed. But when you travel too, it opens your mind up in ways. And when you learn other languages too, it opens your mind up in ways that we're all human. We can, I can say I'm Scottish, or I'm American or Italian or whatever, or Thai. But at the end of the day, we're all bleeding red, we're all going to end up, under the grass or wherever it's going to be, so why not have a party where we all come together and celebrate each other, and strength is universal.
Oh, 100%.
So, with martial arts is universal. When we have the Irish collar and elbow, we have the Scottish backhold, first ever North American Scottish backhold wrestling championship with officials coming from Scotland who run all the wrestling in Highland Games in Scotland. They're coming to officiate. So, but backhold is also in France. It's also it's in other regions in Europe. And so there's the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community. There's the all other kind of wrestling community, general wrestling community. Why not bring all these people together? And yes, it has a rich history where George Washington practiced at collar and elbow, or there's talk of Abe Lincoln doing it, or there's talk of these amazing athletes in Vermont, crazy, and in Boston, where it's fixed grip jacket wrestling, standing. So first person to knock, or to get any part of their body on the ground loses, other than their feet. And it's just simple. It was called the gentleman's wrestling style because it's upright. You have to use a lot of technique. It's not just strength. And it's things like this, that is fun for anybody, whether you're Celtic or Irish or not. Right. And there's pro fighters coming for that, which is wild, man. And then we have the team events, which I think you guys at So New England would appreciate. It's barbell clubs from all around New England form teams, and they go to battle at each other with wagon wheel deadlift, truck pull medley, cabered, so telephone pole toss for distance. And then I think 2 other events are stone lifting events, one over bar, and then a challenge, like Braveheart style challenge put or stone throw in they say, or in Scottish, they say stone put. So it's like, that's really amazing. And there's people who competed in World's Strongest Man that are coming for that, or there's pro strong women from Canada. And it's like, it's a party, man. Like,
I've been going to the Highland Games in New Hampshire for the last 3 years now, and it's always a really fun experience.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what yours is going to be like, because I've always really enjoyed all of that.
Yeah.
But I think what's incredibly fascinating so far is just the amount of information that you can hold inside that head of yours. You sound like a bit of a historian. So before we continue with the No Fame game, let's take like 2 steps back, because I would love to hear just a little bit of your story as to what has led you up to this point. Obviously, there's a lot of travel involved. There's a lot of history behind you that has cultivated this No Fame game. And I want to see where that interest has stemmed from, and talk maybe a little bit about, like, the private chef stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, whatever you want, man.
I think people as they hear this are probably going to be like, wow, this is a fascinating individual. So share away if you're willing.
I'm lucky that my parents were international school teachers. So, they were bohemian when we first made it to St. Croix. But then, they utilized their education, and then we went on travels. But so right now, I think what the first place to start is I'm a father, and having a 10-year-old just turned 10. When my wife and I, who's from Brockton and Boston Irish,
okay, through and through,
So
that's the toughest thing I've heard yet.
Yes, you got that right. She told me not to swear, which is like very hypocritical. But anyway,
that is, my mom is going to see this, and I'm going to call her out for it. But that is my mom to a T.
Yeah,
my mom will be like, "I didn't teach any of you bastards how to swear. All right, so cut the shit." And I'm like, we're all at the dinner table, like, what? Yeah,
exactly. So her and I were really trying to think, like, what traditions do we want to pass on to little man? And obviously the Scottish came up, the Irish came up. We first went to the Highland Games in New Hampshire. That was our first really exposure to it in 2017. And that opened up the door. We went to the clan village. And my wife, actually, she had an amazing experience where with the Clan McGilvery, and she went up to the convener who was there, and she's like, "Oh my God, that looks like my grandparents, like one of my grandfather, a split between my grandmother and grandfather." Turns out they're distantly related from Nova Scotia, and the lines that come down. So funny. And it was just one of those moments of like, I know that's kind of, like out there, but it was beautiful. And then going to the Clan Mackintosh tent and the Clan Campbell tent, it was just a piece of myself that I'd always heard from my father or from my parents of, that this is part of us, and this is something that's really proud. And speaking of the Clan Mackintosh, I think it's 5 great grandfathers ago, that man came from Edinburgh in Scotland, and he came to Holyoke, and he started a really successful cotton dyeing mill there that became one of the largest in the country. It was called Mackintosh Mill. And so his son then kind of took that over, and who was my relative. And so that's the New England connection too, the Scots coming to New England. And then on my grandmother's side, there is the Campbell side, that he came from Nova Scotia to Maine, and then started an onion business, and then went to Connecticut, and that really blew up in Connecticut, which I'm surprised by, but Connecticut
explains the smell.
Yeah, right. No. Yeah. Oh my God, Connecticut. We still need you though on June 13th. So, and then there's that history. There's like that rooted history in New England. But then also my wife, she has the Irish. She's like mostly Irish and a lot of Scottish. And so we were just going to the games, and we were like, this is incredible. And we went up to the athletics, and that was when it was really like heyday. Yeah,
like, right at Loon Mountain is very, very cool with the picturesque backdrop and everything that they're doing.
Yeah, I hope they stay there. And anyway, the athletics was just, I was like, this is amazing. And so I started competing, and just for fun, and then that's what kind of led down to after COVID, we lost festivals. And so it was really by necessity that the group of misfits that I was with and throwers, we started No Fame Games, and it was just a backyarder, it was like 30 dudes throwing heavy stuff, in the Chelmsford High School field. Thank you, Chelmsford. And, because I don't even know if they know that. But anyway, then it just grew, and we used social media. We used slow-mo, and like a slow-mo video mixed with some music. And when they released the implement, hit the slow-mo, and it became this thing because no one had ever done that. It sounds so simple, and it is, but that was No Fame Games got its social media, a little bit of social media presence and, relevance. And so then now I was like, okay, so this is important. And it's a way too to reach people that maybe would never go to a Highland Games or go to an Irish festival, but everyone's got the phone. If we make some badass videography with that incredible athletics, with things and people in kilts spinning, throwing trees, it started to work. And so then we grew and we got better videography. And then to the point where now, we're hosting the Celtic Strength World Championship. But for myself, it was, it's my personal history. It was growing up knowing that I had these Celtic roots, but not really knowing how to practice that, how to live that because of growing up overseas. And it really wasn't until I went to Ireland like 2 weeks ago for the first time, and was, taken care of by a lot of these hooligans that I've been talking about, that I felt a real sense of connection. I've been to Scotland and obviously felt a real sense of connection, particularly where my 5 great-grandfather, where his home, where he lived, I went to that area. But it was in Ireland too that I was like, this place is really special. There's something here that's really special in the land. And so my wife and I, and my son too, we felt a heightened sense of responsibility as cultural ambassadors to help bring that, to authenticate that. And so myself, it's really been, how do I surround myself with the great people, the people better than me, and have them also come in and teach us, what are these traditions? Not just me here, blabbing. It became a sense of, and I've thought about this for years, but now I feel it's actualizing, and having all the Scottish, the Irish, even people in Canada, and who are just coming together to be authentic sources, a gathering of minds. And that's even going to be seen in the first ever cultural panel discussion. The topic is, what is Celtic strength? Not just the physical feats, but the general kind of topic itself of strength. And we have Harvard University, Boston College, and then 2 pretty significant cultural educators that have a larger online platform. And then there's also David, Indiana Stones, and one of the gentlemen who's helping to bring back the Irish collar and elbow, Nathan Featherstone from Dublin. And he's also an expert in Irish martial arts and stick fighting. It's called Batarak. And what's funny about that in New England is, the Boston Celtics logo, he's leaning on a stick. That's a shillelagh. That's a shillelagh.
There you go.
And so the history of the shillelagh is very fascinating. And we could dive into that, particularly during the penal laws when the Brits outlawed weaponry. And so it became sticks, and blackthorn sticks particularly became a weapon and a martial art that not many people know about. It's kind of like concealed weaponry. And so Nathan, who's coming, has studied it, with different kind of lineages or different styles. And so he'll be giving demos and lectures about it. So for people who are interested in that, or maybe a little older too, and, you need to walk downtown Providence at night or something like that, or Brockton. Although I don't think they can stop bullets, but they're pretty hard though. They're pretty hardy. But it's just, there's so much history when you see, whether you're, Celtic or not, there's something there that's universal. That any culture can look at. I mean, particularly with the Scots and the Irish that have been colonized, that have been abused and hurt, that everyone can look at that and be like, yeah, you know what? Like, I understand or to an extent can feel what that's like, and can resonate, and can go support that, because we're really trying to keep these things alive. Like, in a modern world where we can just have everything we want, like, it's also important to remember our roots, and going back to that Celtic tree, that, in the Celtic tradition, that sacred tree. And so the strength element is just one branch or one root of that, but you have language, you have a culture, you have arts, you have music. It's all of these things matter. And the more you throw heavy or far, but the more you really try to think and reflect, the more you see all of that, the bigger picture. And any person from any culture can resonate with that and can say, yeah, now that I can take that too and be inspired for my own culture, or my own sense of identity and self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of comes to mind for me, right, from an experience for the the guests that should be coming to this event, what can they actually expect in a sense of entertainment? Because it is wonderful, because as someone who, as I've divulged to you before, is this stuff fascinates me.
Yeah.
But on a surface level, some people don't necessarily find themselves entirely intrigued with history.
Totally.
And and I don't want to say it in a negative connotation, but like some
No.
people are bored with the thought of like
Totally.
learning stuff. So like from an entertainment perspective, what can someone expect? They can bring their kids and just have a little bit of fun. So let's talk about the day of events.
Yeah. So, again, going back to like my private chef and just how do I put on a good event?
Yeah.
That people are going to come to. And that's really, we dive so much into the culture but it's for everybody. It's a festival. It's a party. Anyone can go to a party. Right. Mm-hmm. And we're really grateful that Red Bull has come on, and they're going to bring in a live DJ and stage. So we're going to have live music and a party. So that's going to be, the audio. Then we have the beer garden that's going to open at 12, sponsored by Guinness, but also we're working with a local woman who runs a traveling Irish pub. It's called the Black Harp. And so,
I've seen this.
Yeah. So Jean is going to be there. Then we have food trucks. We got BT Smokehouse is going to come out. If you know that, if you know. Yeah. and a couple other gourmet trucks as well. And then, so you walk in and there's going to be the athletics. There's going to be all the 4 different championships happening throughout the day. There's going to be the fitness activation stations. There's a kid station. So bring your family. We're going to have tug of war against the pros. So there's like 40, 50 kids, against these 5 giants, which is great for kids too. And like, how do we inspire the kids? So the kids, there's a whole station for you. There's sack races. There's all kinds of fun little activities and festivities to partake in. There's the Celtic Village with all the local vendors, all the local Celtic organizations that you can, learn more about. There's, charitable nonprofits. And then there's, that's the main party. And then we also have the What is Celtic Strength cultural panel discussion with all the universities and all those influencers. Then we also are like at 9 a.m. for the opening ceremony, backtracking even more. We're going to have all the organizations, the fanfare, the pipes, the drums. And then Sheena Melwani is going to sing the national anthem. It's going to be, that's awesome. And they've been big supporters, her and her husband, the real Indian dad. And it's exciting because, obviously they're not Celtic heritage, but they saw it last year and they're like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And so there's also, the national anthems will be sung, U.S., Scotland, Ireland. And then Sheena is also going to be the head judge for a tartanista red carpet catwalk. So people can get donned out or just decked out in their kilts and their wear, and they're going to walk the red carpet, strut their stuff for fun. There'll be a fun little prize too at the end.
Oh, that's
and
so
hopefully,
great.
Maybe you'll be one of the judges too.
Yeah, why not? I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So that'll be that. It's just make it fun. Like
yeah, of course.
Go get a few pints if you need to at noon, and then come back.
Is
and
there
walk
a
the
chance
carpet.
that Guinness is going to be bringing their zero alcohol? I know they have the 0.0.
I need to double check with Gene at the Black Harp, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be people
cool.
who don't want to,
Yeah, because I don't drink, so I would, it feels like a cardinal sin not to have a Guinness while you're there. So if they have the zero alcohol, I'm in.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll take care of that. And again, like you don't need the alcohol to party. You can just go, and the athletes better not.
Yeah,
at least until they're done. But yeah,
some of the athletes would consider that part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Pre-workout to the workout.
Yes, correct. Yeah, too many of them. But anyway, so the doors open at 8:30. Opening ceremony is 9 a.m. There's a lot of really amazing things. And the gentleman who we mentioned before, from the Dublin Fire Brigade, he's a poet, and which you would not think this guy is a poet. Tough, large dude, but amazing poet.
My favorite kind of poet.
Yes, right. Seriously. And so he wrote a poem about what we're doing. He was just there really inspired by, everything that we're talking about, and they get it. They get the picture. And so he'll be reciting the poem, and there's just there's a lot of, festivities throughout the day with obviously it's athletic driven, but there's all this other stuff too, like the red carpet and then the cultural panel discussion. And so, and then there's the kids stuff, and then, there's the village stuff. We also have a hurling the Worcester Fenians are coming. They're gonna have a little tent and a little like demo thing. I don't know if you've seen hurling. Like,
I have, yes.
I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
You know what I'm a fan of is and you'll know the proper name for it is the bowling, the street bowling.
Yeah, street bowling. I don't know. I forget the name, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just watching there's a Netflix show right now. Oh gosh, that is about like a podcast.
Yep,
that's
yep.
like a crime documentary
Yeah.
in a village in Ireland. And that was like a big thing. And I haven't seen it in quite some time. So it's really cool.
Really cool. And wasn't it one of the was it Kelsey brothers that like he made that a little more popular in New England, you know? Those guys are nuts. But yeah,
we need those people.
We need it. You need to be nuts. Like this is nuts.
Yeah.
What we're doing. There's a massive risk. There's a like another part of this is we want to show the professional sports world that these things are can be successful sports that can be marketed on a larger platform like ESPN or it used to be on ESPN. The Highland Games used to, and there's a big
I was going
push.
to ask about
Strongman,
that.
right?
Yeah,
World's
because I
strongest
feel
man.
like when I was younger, I watched Magnus Samuelsson, that whole run he had, and I feel like I always caught it on TV. Because we know, Thor, Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall. Those are all like the big guys now, especially with the platforms we have like social media. But I remember that many years ago, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's inspiring when you're a kid to see these giants going at it, and then, but as a parent or as someone who works out, to go to these festivals, like from going to and seeing these people, these weights, like women too, men and women, like there's throw these weights. It is it's visceral. It's something ancient in us, regardless of culture. That you see it, you're like, well, I want to go throw something.
It is not easy. And Vin, this would be a great time to insert the actual video clip for our art here, but no one's going to believe me. But I actually threw out my back trying to pick up a stone because I've been a lifter my entire life. I've deadlifted my entire life, and I fell off the wagon for a year. I looked at the rock. I was like, dude, 200 pounds. This is easy.
Light work.
And literally since then, I've had like not a herniated disc or anything, but like I've had some pretty bad back problems. and I literally, if you watch the video, you can see where I kind of go, trying to get the stone up to my waist. So enjoy that video.
Hey, that proves
it is not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy.
I did. I was very fortunate in high school to run. And
Most athletic. Sorry, I had to put it out there.
That's fair. I'll take that one. To run track with some very, very good runners. We had the best miler in the country when I was a junior.
Springer,
Andrew
right?
Springer was an absolute, oh my God, he was so much fun to watch. And then even the guys to run with him were super talented, all D1 athletes. It was so fun to watch. But our throwers, so we have Ben Carroll was our throwing coach.
Oh, wow.
And he came in and he got some really great athletes with him. He ended up going to URI and doing a bunch of stuff. But watching them throw the shot and the disc and even the hammer throw was fascinating. Because I was like, oh, I'm an athlete. But I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm going to get dizzy. I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Yeah,
and they're
especially now,
literally throwing it straight as far as they can go. And men and women. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
We're going to try everything when we're there.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm going to have to stretch. I'll start stretching now.
We'll start training now.
Start stretching now.
But
we'll start flipping donuts like tires.
It truly is such like, you really don't, because you're kind of like those fun videos on TikTok where you're like the guy, you're like, I could do that. And he's on the couch with the donuts dripping down. Cookies everywhere. But it's just so fascinating, the technique of some of these things. And it goes back to, like you said, the culture of it, where it's like they take pride in it. And it might be something as simple as throwing a telephone pole.
Yeah.
But
as simple as throwing a telephone pole. Quote that.
As soon as I finished the sentence, I was like, that doesn't make sense. But you know what I mean?
No, it does, in a sense that it's also, some of these things just came out of necessity in old warrior culture.
Right.
That you had to be strong.
Well, you don't have these big manufacturers making 200-pound rogue rocks just to throw rogue on them. You had to go find something in the middle of the ocean while you were doing it. Just to, like you said, it goes back to the showing the strength of like the I guess the place you came from. To say like, hey, this is our village, and if you want to be top dog, you got to pick that one up over there.
This is what I wanted to bring up on your show.
Yes,
because it's New England. We know the Pats. This. We have all this professional sports teams. these stones or these activities were like professional sports teams,
Right.
that people would rally around their stone, be like, this is the champion of our stone. This is our town.
That's cool.
So it was like we love sport. Like, there's a culture of entertainment and sport entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what that was back in the day for the Celts. It was stones, or it was these festivals. And this was our town champ. Our town champ's going to go against your town champ. Or our clan champ is going to go against your clan champ. These are our teams.
Right.
And there's that team loyalty or that team identity. And so that's what this is too, is in a sense of, for maybe people don't like the football or like the basketball or hockey, but the principle is there, and that core need of us to have a societal, glue. And I think that's a fascinating aspect to this as well, that these traditions were like that. And it's important, the other thing too that's going to be fun at the games are the crowd and fitness activation points. Or there's a local club called Barbell 88 is going to run the Highlander Fitness Challenge. So it's a 2-minute circuit. If you can finish all the events within the 2-minute circuit, your name goes into a winner's raffle. And then there'll be a fun little prize that we got. Or we got the Zurchers. Yeah, you guys got to do that.
I was gonna say that Friday I have PT. I don't think I'll be able to go that Saturday.
Here we go.
No, I'll fix your back today.
Vin's like, please don't look at me.
Yeah. But then we also have the guys in Providence, the Top Strength Project, Steve Tripp and his crew. They're going to bring out a combi rack, and they're going to teach people the Zurcher squat. Because that lift has become really famous, but all of these pro athletes that come, they all do Zurcher squat because they understand the crossover power that it has, whether it's with stone lifting, whether it's like that, it's safer than deadlift, especially when you do it off the rack instead of from the ground. And so, guys like Steve are going to have put on a show and go at a 700-pound single with a Zurcher squat. That's a wild amount of weight for a Zurcher squat. So
For anything
I was going
too.
to say, any kind of weight that starts with 7.
You're right. I feel like I'm jaded now.
Yeah, 'cause you
being
see so
around
much
these
of it.
Olympians
Yeah,
and
true.
pros, and I'm just barely at 4 right now, especially running this show, but excuses, but but it's like, I had to lift the stone in the car, right here, and that's 254. But it's just like, it keeps you alive. You're putting your hand on, you're participating, you're in the ring. At the games, you can get in the ring, you can get on the stage, on the court, whatever it is, on the field. You can, with the stone lifting, David and Martin will be there leading you through a ladder of stones. They'll teach you the technique so you don't blow out your back. So you have the right, you have the right lifts, the right leverage, and you're not pushing yourself too hard where, because they'll immediately be like, drop the stone. Right. That's not safe. It's not the right position. It's the same with the squat, same with the bench, same with the power lifts, And so there is that interconnection, and what those gents love is they're passing on that tradition. They're humble, good men, and they want to pass this on so it doesn't die, because that's our responsibility as stewards or as cultural ambassadors or as servants. Like I'm a servant of this. I don't want to be a leader. I just want to be a good servant, a good steward. That's why I'm back at the house as a chef, a private chef, and you're everything. So, but that's, there's something there, so people can come and they can dive into that.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful thing that you're doing that. So kudos to you, because I think with social media, just the growth of the internet and the overbearing information that has pretty much overtaken everyone's household, there's a lot of things that us as Americans kind of obsess over and think it's like, oh, if it happens in America, it happens everywhere. Yeah. And sports is a great indicator of how there's so many American sports that you just don't see over the rest of the world. And the world is a massive place outside of the US.
Totally.
And I think it's just truly wonderful that you're continuing this, especially in a place where, had it not been for this history, this place would not exist.
True.
So we owe it to our ancestors and the people who came here and migrated and did the hard work, so that we can sit in a cozy, comfy studio with a fancy mic and take a warm shower and have a hot meal whenever we want. So,
and that's the real meaning to the No Fame Games. Yeah. It's the no fame. It's those people who didn't get the spotlight. That was really the major part, the depth of our name was we wanted to give back to those giants upon whose shoulders we stand, who didn't have the limelight, who are the unsung heroes. And that's where the no fame comes from.
Love that.
Yeah.
The people who I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever been in Nova Scotia or seen what that,
Oh my.
with that economy, what that wind, what that snow, what that weather is like as we leave here and go into our warm cars. And then I go home and I make a video. This rain is terrible. And then I sit in front of my couch, dry as can be, you know. Nova Scotia's no joke. So
when I went to Ireland in the Aran Islands, and David took me to that stone that I lifted. I got wind under. They call it the goy fui. If you put the wind under the stone, it's a successful lift. So it's 370. It was a long ride, but I got the wind under it. But it's like you're at the end of the world. This place, it's like just stone and then cliffs, and people have been living there for thousands, tens of thousands of years, and that stone has lived there. So they don't know how long people have been lifting that stone for, but you look, and then right next to it, there's like a path that goes down from the ocean up, and it's a fishing, there's fishing. So the people would go, test themselves against the water and the storms. And then you see these homes and it's stone, like the insulation, like back in the day with being battered, the Atlantic just battering this island on that side. And right next to where the stone is, David showed me that a lot of people don't know, there's this flat area and you see pieces of tar. But when you look at it, it's the tar, they would tar the boats there. And so the outline is of the boats.
Of the boat.
And you see these little specks of tar going around. You think about how the men would carry, they would carry those boats up, and then they'd have to be tarring it, there. And then they go back into the, to go to survive, to get food.
That's crazy.
It's wild to think. And our ancestors did the same thing here. They had to fight for this. Yeah. So I really love that you just brought that up.
No, it's great.
It's wild to think like that, huh? Yeah. I mean, you can cut this part, but like the whole concept, like I feel like you kind of started off by saying it, but like traveling is such an intricacy that like if you are able to do it, do it. Don't second guess it. Just go.
Yeah.
Even if you go somewhere and you're like, you know what, this place is not my cup of tea. I've been to a few states where I'm like, I don't need to come back. I've seen what I've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
But you think about the people, and again, this is why you can cut this. You think about the people who are like bitching about America and completely not political at all. I'm just saying, like, we have so much to be grateful for.
Oh my God.
And there are still places, second and third world countries, that have it so much worse. And if you go there, you would never know.
Yeah, well,
they are just there doing life, fishing for food, hunting for food, and it's like, I just got to
think about the island
quick.
that doesn't friggin'. They still haven't even, they haven't even come into the 21st century at all.
Yeah.
They have nothing. I'm like, at my point, my only thought with that was like, you're on how much more food and resources are left at this point? But,
well, that's a good question too. Having lived in Thailand and, I did something very different when I lived there, but traveling in the north and seeing how people live and not just poverty, it's crazy. How grateful we need to be for what we have. And when I was actually invited by the 5th Drukgyalpu for his coronation ceremony for Bhutan when he was becoming king of Bhutan.
Bhutan is a place that's been on my list.
And you have to go to Bhutan.
It looks like the most incredible place on
It's
earth.
like, it was like I was going, not just back in time, but going into eternity and infinity underneath the Himalayan mountains.
I love that.
And the different sites, the different like tourist sites, the Tiger's Nest, this monastery that's embedded into a cliff you have to walk 3 hours to. It's just like you think you're talking about not having much, but they're happy.
Happiest country on earth.
They say that, gross national happiness. And I would say that doesn't surprise me, but they would just say, what do you need more of? That was the big question. They said, I'd like maybe a little more time with my family. Or like, it's the simplest connection, people, community, identity, togetherness. And when you come back here, we have all of this that our ancestors built for us. It forces you, no matter what culture you're from, to remember who fought and died for what we have. And like, I think too, my many great grandfather was General Jonathan Chase, who fought in the American Revolution for New Hampshire. He was a general in New Hampshire. And he's quoted as one of the people who started "Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes" when the Brits came. And so I think about all of, just myself, I have that connection that I can think, this person was willing to fight and sacrifice for what they believe in our country and for freedom and liberty. And I know it's not perfect and there's a lot of politics around that, but just the core principle of that is beautiful and it's worth fighting for. And that's what I think with heritage sports and what we're trying to do at No Fame Games is, yes, we have that deep rooted cultural element that we are fighting to keep alive, and we need people to come support us. We need tickets to be sold. This is not a profit thing for me. It sounds terrible to say that as a businessman, but I make my money as a private chef to billionaires. That's like my thing. But this is for the community, for those people who came before. And we need the local New England community to rally around this, and because it's universal in its application. And so I really hope that, people listen to me and my craziness and listen to you guys, hopefully more than they listen to me, and are just like, let's go do this, because it's going to be an incredible party.
Oh yeah.
Let's fine tune the logistics here.
Yeah.
Total hours, open to close, parking situation, and where can people get tickets?
Yeah. So open is 8:30. The gates will open, closes at 4:30. Beer garden, for those who partake, opens at noon. You can get tickets online at Market AI. It's a newer ticketing platform. You can send the links, hopefully. And, or you can go to our website at www.nofamegames.com, NOFAMEGAMES.com. And the ticket's pretty cheap. Right now, as we're recording this, it's the early bird special, 15 for adults and 8 for kids. There's a family package. There's all kind of packages. There's a VIP package if you want that. We're going to have lots of merch with really cool, this is our old 2023 logo. We have lots of, souvenirs for people.
Which apparently took place in Miami.
So I'm an 80s child. I'm an 80s child.
There you go. That makes sense.
And so our designer was like, and he's an 80s kid too. So
all right.
we were like, let's do this.
You guys were like, let's just turn on, what is it? Grand Theft Auto and make a logo.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great.
Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. So that's the real basics with parking. There's going to be different parking spots right pretty close to the area.
Free parking or pay parking?
There's free parking.
Okay, great.
So we're working on the logistics for a shuttle bus. So you can stay updated with us either on Instagram as @NoFameGame without the S. And so we'll have a lot of updates there. Also on Facebook at No Fame Games, or on the website. If you, or when I should say, you buy your tickets, we're working with Market AI. And so that's a direct to consumer. We can text you guys. So, we'll just give you guys updates. That's easy. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing party. So you got to come.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate
Thank you, brothers.
you being on. We look forward to sharing this journey with you on
June 13th. And with the So New England, there is a promo code for So New England.
Oh, tune in, folks.
30% off.
There you go. No excuse now.
Yeah.
Already affordable, an additional 30%. And the crew will be there. You will see us. If you guys want to come and say hello, have a pint of Guinness with us and watch us throw stones, more than likely, we'll be throwing around more verbal abuse to one another than stones, but we'll be there.
Thank you guys
We
very,
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's going to conclude episode 6 of the So New England Spotlight. Please try and remember, folks, life's better in New England.
Red Sox crack and the Celtic fly. Patriots fight and the Bruins grind. From 6 great states, we raise this